If you're over 40 and wondering if it's too late to start a career in nursing or to start over again, period, this video's for you. A lot of people ask me about how did I begin my career in nursing. As I mentioned before, I started this nursing career over the age of 40. I'm currently in my 50s. And as I mentioned, it's not too late for you to start. I already had a degree in communications when I started nursing. But I was just working like a lot of jobs that led to nowhere. I was getting laid off a lot, and the money, quite honestly, just wasn't that great. And I always knew I wanted to do something that was in the helping field, but for some reason, I don't know why nursing never occurred to me. So when I decided to go back, I was a single parent. As I mentioned, I was working low-end job, and I didn't have a lot of money. So in order for me to go back, I did have to make some sacrifices. I had to go to an overnight job, and I took a pretty nice pay cut. I didn't have any prerequisites in science that I needed, even though I had the degree. So I had to take some classes over. And I really took a leap out on faith. I applied to one school, and I got in. So one of the other things that I wanted to talk about is fear of being the oldest student in the class. When I went back to school, as I mentioned, I had to take some prereqs. I needed to take, for example, human anatomy because I didn't have any sciences. And so when I went back to school, not even into the nursing program, but just back into school period, I was surprised at how many students there were who were considered non-traditional students. And I was not even the oldest student in the class. So there were all sorts of people there. There were people with kids. There were people with spouses. There were people who still had bills to pay. You know, there weren't just like 18-year-old students right out of high school. So I was not the oldest student in my class. And so that made it a lot easier and kind of took some of the stress off, if you will, to keep pushing. And I could kind of see a light into my way into the nursing program. So when I decided to go back to school, it was partly out of necessity and partly because I was very unfulfilled in the job that I was doing. I worked in telecom, worked a lot of different jobs in telecom. My bachelor's degree is in communications, and somehow I landed in the area of telecom. I did get laid off a lot, and like I said, I was very unfulfilled in what I was doing. And I knew that I wanted to do something that was in the helping field, but I didn't quite know what that was. So I did a little research. I went down to my local little Department of Labor, and I stumbled upon the career of nursing. At the time, I didn't have any clinical experience, so I decided to take like a little CNA program through the Department of Labor, and I landed a job at a hospital here in Atlanta, and I kind of got stuck, to be quite honest with you. My son was in school, and I needed to put him into private school. So that meant I had to work. And anybody who's done any research about nursing school knows that everyone always says you can't work and go to nursing school. So I kind of put it off for a few years until about his senior year. I needed to go back and take some prereqs because I didn't have any sciences. So I went back, I took some science classes. I had to retake my math because it was over 5 years old. And there's also an entrance exam that you had to take. So I studied for this entrance exam, and I passed it. The other thing that I did was, talk about a leap of faith. I only applied to one nursing school. This nursing school was near my house. It was easy for me to get my son where he needed to go, to stay with his grandparents or whatsoever while I was working over at school. And the decision to go back to school, it did come with a lot of sacrifice. I had to go to night shift, a pay cut, and sometimes I would literally go from school to work or work to school. And so it was a big sacrifice, but it was not impossible. Now I'm not gonna lie, nursing school is hard. It was hard. You had to really bear down. All-nighters are nice when I did get very little sleep, because there's a lot of studying involved. There's a test quiz, something, clinicals, lab, something every day that you have to do. You know, there won't be a day that goes by that you won't have to pick up that textbook. So it's not impossible. Again, you just have to kind of plan it out. You know, if you're a parent, you make sure you get this done, that done, and then you have your time blocked out for your studying, which is a must. Even, like I said, even with the prereqs, because of course you have to have the GPA to get into the nursing program. So you just want to make sure you have everything planned out. You know what your life is like. You know what schedules you need. Fast forward, 2 years. I graduated. I had a job before I even finished school. And sorry guys, I'm back. I just changed my glasses because the glare was not giving those other glasses. But I tell you that you can't go to nursing school because you work a full-time job. I was able to make it work by, like I said, going back to school, becoming a CNA, and which allowed me to work 3 days a week, 12-hour shifts granted, but only 3 days a week. I had to work overnight. However, it still allowed me to make it happen. Especially now, there are so many non-traditional ways to go back to school, not just nursing school, but school period, and also work and be able to make needs meet. Because of course, we all still need to be a parent, we still need to be a spouse, a partner, whatever it may be. School is not, it's just one facet of your life. So we still have to have room to make all those other things work. So I would encourage you to just do a little more research, go to your local schools, check out some of the non-traditional ways that there are to go back to school. And if you'd like for me to talk a little bit more about that, drop it down in the comments and we'll make a separate video about that one. So no, I didn't take the traditional path of becoming a nurse at 22, but here I am, in my 50s. I'm an internal travel nurse here in Atlanta, and the work I do is greatly fulfilling. It's good feeling to know you've helped someone's loved one live to see another day, or maybe you've held a family member's hand when their loved one didn't make it, and that work is very gratifying. Life experience matters in nursing, so take your age and let it work for you. So if nursing or any new beginning is pulling at you, don't be afraid to start. I'm living proof.